Do you think that students should be taught about conspiracy theories in school?
Recently, a report came out from the Commission into Countering Online Conspiracy Theories in Schools, which was set up by the Pears Commission. I was part of that commission. Two of the recommendations from it I think are worth highlighting. One is that teaching on conspiracy theories should start in primary school. There's no point in waiting until the age of 13.
Now, I think a lot of people would agree that a lot of conspiracy theories over the past 4 or 5 years specifically have actually come true, and that those who are called conspiracy theorists, they tend to be proven right a lot of the time, especially by the mainstream media. It just takes a bit of time. So we're going to be asking people today that simple question. Let's go. Do you think that we should be teaching students about conspiracy theories?
I think we should probably teach them that they're out there, but teach them critical thinking to know what to believe and what not.
Do you think that over the past 4 or 5 years, a lot of conspiracy theories have actually come true?
No.
You should teach the mental process of not thinking or not being conditioning about what the society tells us. Not being like, oh yeah, it's like this, it's not like...
Do you think that lots of conspiracy theories have come true?
Not at all.
I think there are so many conspiracy theories, like some of them will be true anyway. I think there is a truth within everything. And I think, like for example, the COVID was fucking weird.
I think I'm a very factual person normally, so I need something to back it up. But I do think in schools it would be useful to have conspiracy theories that you can kind of unpack within a classroom, where it's like a conversation rather than it being presented as if it's like a fact.
So back in 2020, I said that lockdown was a bad idea and that COVID, there's lots of issues there.
Yeah.
And I was called a conspiracy theorist. But now a lot of people agree with me. So am I still a conspiracy theorist?
Can I say something? I thought like you before, but no, I think there is no conspiracy theory about this. I think not at all.
Why?
And I think it's too hard to create a conspiracy about that. Too hard.
But doing just 43 vaccine?
Yeah, I think it's just bought vaccines because they needed vaccines and then they bought too much, so they wanted to vaccinate us. But it's too easy to say it's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
I think
probably should teach them in schools. I think, and let children make their own minds up.
I didn't take the COVID vaccine because I thought that it was an experimental vaccine that hadn't been properly tested, hadn't been trialled. It was my perspective, but I was called a conspiracy theorist for that. So is that a conspiracy theory?
You don't look like a conspiracist. You look like what you're saying is very open-minded, and you like the thing that's annoying about people with conspiracies are very close-minded.
I think it depends on the topic. If it's not anything that is in relation to, I think, politics. It might actually be a useful topic to kind of unpack, as long as it's a constructive discussion that engages critical thinking within children. Then I think it would be really useful for kids to learn how to discuss that and possibly see both sides of the story. And I think it teaches critical thinking.
If teachers aren't objective in the conspiracy teaching, then it'll be hard for kids to be able to think for themselves. So I think that's half the problem with education nowadays, is that you're going to teach what you believe, you're going to push what you believe, so it's hard for kids to be objective if their teacher isn't objective. Yeah. So I do think that's what I think.
When I was in college, they were teaching us about conspiracy theories, and I was told that at the time I wasn't going to take the COVID vaccine because for various reasons I didn't think it was tested properly, and I didn't think it was particularly good for children specifically. I didn't think kids needed to take it or young people needed to take it. They called me a conspiracy theorist, and they told me that I was like an extremist for believing these things. So my concern is, could there be a motivation to try and dub certain things as conspiracy theories when they're not conspiracy theories? It's actually true.
That's actually a fair point.
you have the right to not vaccinate yourself. And the government wanted us to vaccinate to force us to do it.
That was fucked up.
And we should not be forced to do that. We should be, they should tell us why we should, but we're not forced to do it.
So it's a very mixed response. A lot of people do agree that we should be teaching about conspiracy theories in school, but then when you start to get onto the topic around COVID and how a lot of people who disagreed with the COVID narrative, lockdowns, vaccine mandates, the vaccine itself, etc., these people were called conspiracy theorists, but now that's quite a rational conversation to have. There's a very concerning line, I think, that may be crossed when we start teaching young people about what is deemed as a conspiracy theory. When I was in college, I was taught that to believe that lockdown wasn't a good idea and to be against the COVID-19 vaccine, as it was an experimental vaccine that was mandated in some parts of the world and also pushed on young people and all demographics across the UK. You know, I was deemed as a conspiracy theorist based on that very logical and rational approach to the situation. So I think there's a very dangerous line that is being crossed, and I think a lot of UK Columns audience would agree with that. The education system isn't necessarily there to support young people as much as we may think, and the education system is a great tool for those who are in power to enforce their ideas, their ideologies. And if those in power have the opportunity to teach young people about conspiracy theories, then those conspiracy theories that are actually true can be hidden from the mainstream, and young people can come out of the other end of the education system believing whatever the mainstream media wants to tell them. Thank you for watching this video. My name is Montgomery Toms, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. If you'd like to support UK Column, you can go over to their website. You can support them on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, or you can even become a lifetime member. Once again, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you very soon.